Environmental students, Miss Crowley here. So we are going to be learning about plastic pollution the next few weeks, and the goal of this is that hopefully you will learn the impacts of plastic has on our ecosystems throughout the whole world. And hopefully by learning about it, you get a sense of understanding, you maybe responsibility to change some of the things you might do, and then maybe take action. Okay. Now, if you look at the pictures, you can see all the big, huge plastic bottles, right? Now, that's what most people think of, like the plastic bottles in the garbage patches, if you've heard of those. The next video will talk about it. A lot of people show turtles being suffocated by plastic bags, so they think of the bigger problem. But those plastic bottles get into our ocean, and one thing we like about plastics is they're durable, they're strong, they're rigid, but they can be flexible. They don't rust, they don't rot, and they're cheap, but they also don't biodegrade. So the problem with this is that they don't biodegrade, but they photodegrade, which means that they break down by the sun and they form these microplastics. And if you can see the picture on the left, the microplastics then get into the food chain and then we eat the fish, which gets to us. So in the next video, just listen to that. I tried making this screencastify, showing the videos and working through them with you, but it got too long. So what I'm going to do is go through the slides, and then I'm going to put the videos where you can watch them at your own pace and stop them to fill out the worksheet. So I'll put those 3 videos also below this recording, if that makes sense. I hope it does. Otherwise, it got to be too long. Okay, so you're going to watch this ocean confetti, and then actually, why don't we just watch that together? So this is not so long.
In many ways, plastic is the perfect material. We can make it strong and rigid enough to build spaceships and replace bones, or thin and flexible enough to make shopping bags that weigh as much as a nickel but carry up to 8 kilograms. And unlike other materials, plastic doesn't rust or rot. It can last for centuries, even when we only need it to last a few seconds. We make tons of plastic precisely because it's cheap, durable, and yet expendable. But the features of plastic that make it so useful to us have also transformed life in the oceans, where as much as 10% of our discarded plastic, millions of tons per year, ends up. Big pieces of plastic are definitely bad news for marine animals like whales, albatross, and sea turtles, which risk getting tangled in the debris or ingesting large pieces of it. Yet despite the publicity about huge garbage patches in the sea, most of the ocean's plastic isn't big. Our castaway shopping bags and soda bottles get weakened by sunlight and torn apart in the wind and the waves into little bits of plastic confetti. On the micro scale, though, it's still super durable. The microorganisms that decompose ripped up bits of wood and seaweed down into simpler organic compounds can't easily digest plastic. So while the plastic confetti gets broken into smaller pieces, it doesn't go away. It just spreads out over time. Which is why we've found microplastics pretty much everywhere in the oceans, from the Arctic to the Antarctic, and from the seafloor to the surface. Unlike the easy-to-observe impacts of large plastic trash, the effects of microplastics are as subtle and difficult to trace as the fragments themselves. The durable fragments can serve as new real estate on which small ocean creatures grow and multiply, or choke slightly larger ocean creatures that think the plastics are food, or attract and collect toxic chemicals which become introduced into the food chain if the particles are eaten, and probably a million other problems we haven't noticed yet, because we've only recently started paying attention to all these microplastics in the oceans. But it's undeniable how much plastic trash we've introduced into marine ecosystems, and the wonderful durability of plastic guarantees it'll be an issue for years to come. It's possible we can decrease further impact by switching to biodegradable plastics, dumping less plastic in the oceans, or cleaning up the patches of sea most strewn with plastic. But until we do, the question is, will the oceans be plastic enough to deal with our favorite material?
Okay, so now what we're going to do is go to the next slide. And here you can see the map of the world and the oceans. And we have these things called the Great Garbage Patches. So there are 6 of them. What happens is that people pollute, the plastic gets in the ocean, and because of the ocean currents move all the plastic to what we call these gyres. And there are 6 of them. The biggest one is the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And here, these things are enormous. They're like giant islands. Okay, so 2 million pieces of plastic per square mile in the ocean. And now, like the video said, is that the plastics can't biodegrade, but they photodegrade and break down into microplastics in our oceans. And some of these can absorb highly toxic chemicals like DDT or PCB. They can be eaten by turtles, for example, and then they think they're full, but they're not. And there's no nutrients in the microplastics, so then the turtles starve. They get in, the fish eat them, right? And when we eat the fish, so this is a problem. And like I said, we can do things like use less plastic, use biodegradable plastics, and then clean these things up as best that we can. All right. Now the next video is, or the next slide is this. It's just kind of to show you how gross it really is. This guy, if you can see him in the canoe, is just, canoeing through plastic garbage in the ocean. So it's kind of sad. Not kind of sad, it's really sad. Now, this is where it got too long. I want you to watch this video, and then as you go through it, you're going to pause it. I will put it also down below so you can do it that way. And you're just going to fill in the blank. So it gives you information about bottled water, and then you just write it in the blank. And then you go to the next, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. You go to the next slide, and there is this one. Okay, and this is the life cycle of a plastic bottle. This is the longer of the video, and you fill out the story of the 3 plastic bottles. Bottle 1, bottle 2, and then bottle 3. And then you're done. Then you're going to upload it to this week 5.2, and you are done. So you can use this video to play the videos and stop it, or also I will put the videos below this, if that makes sense. All right. Well, I hope you guys have a good week. And if you need help, I have office hours Monday through Thursday, 1:30 to 2:30. And you can always email me too. All right. Enjoy the week. It looks like a beautiful one.